How would you feel about learning how to create a resource that had this bottomless and endless means of continuously giving back and creating contribution to help people, to heal the planet, and to do all these wonderful things that you wanted to do? And you could have your freedom to take a vacation or to spend your time on another interesting project simultaneously, and this resource still continues to keep giving and creating that contribution of however you want to whatever cause that your heart bleeds to be able to do more for. How would that make you feel? And how would it make you feel if you got to permanently reduce your taxes legally doing all of that? Stick around for this video. I'm going to take a few minutes and I'm actually going to share with you something that I've been practicing for the past, since August of 2007. So I'm coming at you from a place of having done it and starting at a place where I had nothing to give or contribute with. So stick around. So let's get on with it. Yes, it's true. I changed locations because it's going to make the video more interesting, and I'm also going to use it to help teach this particular subject matter. The subject of producing a resource that is bottomless and truly endless. At having something and giving you away a means to be able to give back and create contribution, create impact, heal the planet, help people, endless, regardless if you're sleeping or out making a video like this or whatever you're doing. So here's what it is. The answer is a passive income, passive and residual income. Stick around. A passive income. What that means is that you have an income that pays you passively. The deeper meaning behind what that means is your money is your time is no longer tied to money. So, and what is money? Money is a resource. If you just give all your money away, let's say you make $1 million. Okay, really cool. But let's say you give all your money away to help whatever. It's all gone. You just had that one effort, or maybe divided up into a lot of efforts because it's $1 million. But it's gone. And that severely limits what you could have done so much more to help whatever cause that you want. So instead of giving everything away, and I'm not saying it's a bad idea to give altogether. I mean, I'm not saying you should never just give away some money to help someone, but if you're giving away the bulk majority of your money, then you severely limit the impact that you could have had otherwise. If you develop the skill and become the person that can develop an asset, a resource. An asset is a resource. In fact, an asset that produces passive cash, in my opinion, is probably about the best resource and about the best asset that you can have. But if you develop the skill to become the person that can do that, and then you do that, then your giving and your contribution, okay, the wind has died down. But if you do that, your means of giving and contribution are going to far exceed you and go bigger than you could ever be and will never stop. In fact, it is so literal that it's bottomless and endless that it can keep going long after you pass on from this planet and you go on to the next experience, whatever that is. Now, isn't that something versus just giving all your money away, even though it's a noble effort? But this is the thing about learning about how money works, which a lot of people, especially a lot of good people, want to put off, and all the criminals of the world want to do it, so then they got all this money that pollutes the world. But just imagine if more good people, such as yourself, started removing any negative energy that you have attached to money, and you started making tons of money, and you made passive income. That's a key variable there. Passive, not working for money and trading your time for money, but you develop an asset, a resource that produces all this passive cash, more than you need to create your own freedom, way more, so that you can generate all this money into whatever causes that your heart bleeds for. And because it's passive and you own the asset, it's going to keep going. You could take a trip like this. Here's a part where we tie in the location change. But like I'm out here in one of my most favorite places in the world. It's just, I mean, look at it. I'll give you a shot right now. But right now, as I'm doing this, I have assets I've developed, which is developing a resource called cash. I have assets I've developed, which is developing a never-ending, bottomless resource called cash. In this cash, I've got working for me. I've developed skills so that I can have it work for me and just totally put it to work to not only buy my time and my freedom, but it's doing a bunch of other things too, like providing affordable housing to lower and middle income families, really great clean quality places to live. It allows me to feed people who are starving to death. It allows me to do all kinds of things, and it's endless. It's never ending because these are assets that I own producing this resource called cash passively, so that it's going to keep doing it regardless if I'm making this video in one of my most favorite places in the world, or if I'm actively working to build up the assets and the resources and so forth. And long after I pass on, this thing is going to keep going. And this is part of your vision. It's like, this is part of your legacy, that if you develop this resource called cash from assets, so you got this passive cash going, and it keeps going long after you part from this world, that goes to your legacy. And you can tie your vision into your legacy. It's like, how do you want to be remembered? What kind of impacts do you want to leave behind? And do you want your impact to stop just because you've stopped and you've passed on to the next experience? For most of you, that answer is probably no. You want your impact to be huge while you're here, and you want your impact to continue long after you leave this world. So this is the video that I'm creating is going to resonate with you if you want to have a legacy that creates a positive impact for the planet long after you leave, and to be much bigger than you ever were personally. So it's all about developing that skill set to become the person that can develop those kinds of assets that produce passive flowing cash. And then you can put as much time as you want into developing those assets, or at some point when they're developed enough, you can keep developing it or do other interesting projects simultaneously that do more or whatever. And you can divide your time up however you want that way. But the point is, your time is yours. You got the freedom, and you're impacting people big time. I mean, huge. That is so huge. And there's not enough good people doing that. Most of the people that want to produce the cash flow are people that want to pollute the world with it for their own gain. And really, that's stupid when you think about it, because the earth is our home. We all live here. That's one thing we all have in common. Good people as well as the criminals. So the criminals are kind of like crapping in their own home, so to speak, because the earth is our home. But I guess they figure out they'll be long gone before something really terrible happens to the earth and we all get poisoned by it. So I don't know. I don't really know what's going through their minds beyond that and beyond some kind of corruption and greed. But the more of you good people out there who step up and take control of the money supply away from the criminals, the more we're going to heal the planet and reverse some pretty dire problems that's causing billions of people to needlessly suffer and premature die way before they need to. So I hope this really strikes a chord with you. And if you never thought about money that way before, and about resources and developing assets that produce this resource called passive cash that you can put to work to start doing what you needed to do, man, that's cool. And the only pathway that could lead any good person to believing that just giving all your money away is going to be the best use of it, the only pathway to that is that you just don't know about how money works. And because you don't know about how money works, your financial ignorance keeps you from having the effect that you could have on the world and people that live on the world. So if you're really truly motivated by having a legacy that far exceeds your lifespan on this earth, that keeps giving and keeps creating contribution, then you have to learn about money. If you don't, you're cheating not just yourself, but you're cheating, the impact that you wish you had long after you're gone. So learn about money. And the taxes. I mentioned something about that earlier. If you produce an asset that produces this resource called passive cash, this is a business. The government sees it as a business. The IRS sees it as a business. Whatever money that you invest into developing an asset that you own is a 100% tax write-off. It's nothing that's deferred, so it's permanent, a permanent tax write-off. People that produce passive cash flows from a business asset that you own get the best tax breaks that exist. And the reason for that largely is because you're doing more to stimulate economic growth versus the government. Now, the part of that plan that is flawed is that anybody can develop an asset and call it a business because they own it and do whatever they want with it. Some people profit from this cash flow at making people sick. Other people profit from this cash flow at helping people get healthy or solving a problem, helping the planet heal in some way. So we need more people to step up and be on that latter side of the fence. You know what I'm saying? Have more people generate those awesome cash flows, permanently reducing their taxes. And when that happens, that just frees up a lot more money for you to put to work back into that passive cash flow so that you can keep building it and building it. It'll stimulate the economy. It'll help people. It'll help heal the planet. As long as you're that kind of person that wants to do those things, and that's what you do with it. If you're the kind of person that just wants to pollute the world, well, you can do that too and still get the same tax breaks, unfortunately. So that's my call to action to you, is to get the skills to develop an asset that produces this resource called passive cash. Permanently reduce your taxes so that you can build it more quickly. It's going to buy your freedom, which will give you more time to develop to whatever projects you want, spend time with family, go on vacations, rejuvenate, refresh your soul and your spirit, which makes you more capable of doing more. And that all goes towards your vision, which I've hoped you developed. And so I'm going to do one last topic of this thing on vision. If you have a vision that you hold close enough to your heart and is important enough to you, then you are going to be pulled to do whatever you have to do through the days that you don't feel like doing it. Average people will stop. They will be pushed around by their circumstances. They get a phone call with some bad news, they're going to put it off. And then, of course, how one person does one thing is how one person generally does all things. So that's the litmus test. If you find yourself stopping, maybe you just don't know what to do, so you're not even going to engage relentlessly in the search until you do find the answers. If that's you, then that's your litmus test that you do not have a compelling enough vision. If you have a compelling enough vision, then if you don't know what to do and that's where you're at, you know what you want to do, but you don't know how you're going to do it. If your vision is big enough, you're going to start. You're going to figure it out. A simple formula for success for you people who have the big enough vision, the simple formula for you is going to be you say yes to getting started, and then you figure it out. What most people are going to do who are being pushed around by the circumstances, they're not going to say yes to getting started until they have it all figured out. How they have it figured out, how they're going to go from the start line to the finish line, and then they'll get started. And those people never get started because they never have it figured out. How can you? It's not intelligent. It's stupid. But those of you who have that vision, get started. Say yes to getting started and figure it out as you go. And now I'm going to tie this video into one last thing and let you know that I've got a 30 Days to Profit training sequence, and it's free. I don't charge any money for people to participate in that, to get the trainings and all those other things. But you do have to invest into some materials to make the free trainings work. Otherwise, the free trainings will not work. And that investment can be anywhere from like a couple $100s to several $100s. But you get the materials to make it all work. The trainings are free. And the idea is to equip you to being profitable as quickly as possible. And you continue to build on that, building an asset that you own that gives you those permanent tax breaks, and making you profitable as quickly as possible, so that this asset that you're building that's giving you the permanent tax breaks will produce this resource called passive cash flow. And that'll build, and over time it will eventually exponentially build. And then you can have this wonderful resource, and you can even put that into other projects. You can even divide that up, roll it back into the same one, or roll it over into other things. A portion of it, you can, there's so many things you can do with it. You can roll a portion of it back over into the same asset that you're building. Another portion of it back maybe into another asset that you also want to build. Like I've got my real estate company that just all I want to do with it is provide clean, quality, affordable homes for people that don't have a lot without them going broke, and still having enough money to put food on the table comfortably and get to work and things like that. So charity drives, whatever you want to do. This is what I teach in my 30 Days to Profit training sequence, and to get you as profitable as quickly as possible and start receiving those permanent tax breaks and getting your taxes under control, so you can put more of it back into yourself and back into this asset that you can develop over time. So if you have any openness to learning about that, I will shoot you over a video. Just let me know, connect with me privately. And if you decide that it's not for you, then go look for something that is for you. Because if you don't develop the skills into becoming profitable, you're not going to be able to put together an asset and build that up and produce this wonderful resource called passive money. And then you're not going to be able to create that never-ending, bottomless impact and contribution and giving back and all those other things. So, but at least you'll be on the path to looking for something that is right for you to get the training that you need to become profitable ASAP. And if you decide that it is for you, you see something that just really resonates with you, then let me know, and you and I will talk, and we'll see if this is going to be the right thing for you. So privately message me about that and just ask to see the 30 Days to Profit video. I'll send it right over. If you are at a place where you really don't have any money at all, then I've been there. And I also reverse engineered how I got out of there. And I reverse engineered how I not only got out of there, but became extremely profitable, and how I find it very easy to generate money, including passive money. And I know how to permanently reduce taxes now because I've been there, I've done that, I'm still doing that. Everything I've talked to you about in this video, I've developed myself into being able to do. And I started in a place where I didn't have anything, and I had to get really creative with how to raise money without having any money. So if you really are, at rock bottom like that, then your message to me privately should be, Tom, I want to do this 30 Days to Profit group, but I can't even come up with an extra $100 or so because I'm that far off. And then at that point, I'm going to show you a resource that I have called 31 Ways of Raising Money Now. I'll share that with you. And even if you just pick one or two things off that list of 31, I think you can find one or two, probably at least a dozen most likely, then you're probably going to be able to raise that money pretty quickly. I'm talking like inside of a couple weeks, a couple of days, certainly inside of a month. A lot of people have come up, people that start with nothing, keep in mind, have come up with an extra $500 or so with inside of a month from going through that list. So if they can, I bet you could do something really cool with that list to be able to come up with the funding to get the materials needed to make an investment in yourself so that the free trainings will work. And I think that would be really worthwhile for you and whatever it is that you want to contribute towards and have an impact on this earth that we live on. Get a hold of me. Let me know where you're at and what you need. And if I can help, I will help. If this ain't for you, at least you're on the path to finding something that is, so you're going to win either way. And if it is for you, we'll talk more about it. Bye for now. I'm going to give you a quick panoramic shot of this masterpiece of Mother Nature, which I'm a total sucker for. And I'll hear from, I suspect, quite a few of you real soon. Take care. And here we go. I've been held up against this rock to shelter myself from the wind. So I'm just going to do a circle around this rock I've been holding myself up against. By the way, I failed to mention, which I'm not failing to mention right now, this resource that continues to passively pay out long after your passing, you want to set up your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, your great-great-grandkids, and potential for even more beyond that. You want to set up, say, their college funds, or to make sure that they're always going to have something. There is no better way, period, end of story. So it doesn't all just have to go, like you can put 90%, 95%, 80%, 50%, whatever you want to keep going into your causes, and you can divvy a portion out to go to your family, your grandkids, great-greats. I mean, you won't even need a life insurance policy. A life insurance policy is a joke. It's an embarrassment compared to something like this. I cashed mine out quite a while ago. A life insurance policy is for people that don't have any passive cash flow. It's for people that, oh my God, I'm not going to have anything to leave behind, or if I do have something to leave behind, it's just going to dry up as soon as it's spent. Sort of like giving all your money away. It's dried up, and you just capped your potential for however many people you could help or the causes that you could help. This is it. Passive income. Learn it, master it, develop yourself into becoming the person that can do those things. and you will, because you're pulled by a vision more than your circumstances could possibly push you around. Enjoy that. Become it. Live it.